Well, in the last video I briefly reviewed the original Star Wars trilogy, and in this one I'm going to cover the Prequel Trilogy. For some reason, the Prequel Trilogy gets a lot of hate, and while I feel the original trilogy was better, I don't get all the hate. There's really not that much of a difference between the two, to be honest. Throughout this feature, I've gotten a lot of dumb comments, like on really terribly bad Star Wars games that get, "Oh, it's still better than the Prequel Trilogy." Yeah, whatever, man. Well, let's talk about it. Obviously, since the original three movies were episodes 4, 5, and 6, there would be a 1, 2, and 3. But it took 30 years to get there because Lucas was apparently waiting for special effects to catch up to his vision. But personally, I think he just wanted to work on other things. The three movies this time are The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith. Since Phantom Menace was the first one, and the first Star Wars movie to be released in many years, not counting the re-releases of the originals, it bore the most flack. Really? Has there ever been a movie as anticipated as this one? There was even a movie that came out first that was literally about how anticipated Phantom Menace was. It was called Fanboys, a comedy about a group of Star Wars fans that try to break into Lucas's ranch to steal a print of the movie so their friend who is dying of cancer can see it, as he won't live long enough to see it. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a true story, though of course it's not. Anyway, while the original trilogy was about Luke Skywalker for the most part, the prequels are mostly about his father, Anakin Skywalker, who would become Darth Vader, though the story starts with him as a young kid, and the first one almost focuses more on Obi-Wan than Anakin. In The Phantom Menace, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan are two Jedi who get involved in a conflict with the Trade Federation, who are causing problems for the planet Naboo. They wind up getting into a scrape, and after an attempt on the life of the Queen, Amidala, they decide to take her to the Republic's main world, Coruscant, though they get sidetracked on Tatooine due to their ship being damaged. They're accompanied by the Queen's handmaiden Padme, who is obviously the real Queen in disguise. You know, when I saw the movie I thought Natalie Portman played both roles, but it seems she only played Padme, and the decoy queen, Amidala, was played by Keira Knightley, who looks just like Portman. The more you know. Anyway, they meet Anakin and his mother, who has a stupid name, who are slaves because Tatooine is fucked up like that. They manage to free Anakin because he's Force-sensitive, so much so that Qui-Gon believes him to be the Chosen One, and he simply has to be a Jedi. They take him and the Queen to Coruscant, and the Trade Federation goes on the offense as it ends with the Republic Army fighting the Droid Army, and the two Jedi fighting the Sith apprentice Darth Maul, who kills Qui-Gon but is cut down by Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan is promoted to a full Jedi and takes Anakin as his apprentice, and it seems everything is A-OK, but the future Emperor, Senator Palpatine, is there to sleazily remind the little boy that he'll be keeping an eye on him. Ugh. In Attack of the Clones, it's a few years later, and Anakin is now a cocky teenager, Padme is now a senator. Apparently, being a queen comes with elections and term limits on Naboo, and the main bad guy seems to be Darth Tyrannus, though usually he's just called Count Dooku, because, stupid names. He was a Jedi that split off and formed a separatist movement against the Republic. There's a whole bunch of stuff about how the Stormtroopers came to be. They're all clones of Jango Fett, who was Boba Fett's dad, but the bulk of the movie is about the budding romance between Anakin and Padme. Though Anakin is forbidden to have attachment, he goes forward with it anyway, because, dad ass. The Trade Federation is also at it again, and the Sith Lords are, of course, manipulating everything and creating plans to build the Death Star. The clones battle and destroy the droids once again, rescuing the Jedi who are being hunted down. Anakin and Obi-Wan fight Dooku, who beats the shit out of them, severing Anakin's arm. He gets a mechanical replacement. Yoda fights Dooku after this, but he gets away, and Padme and Anakin get married in secret. The third one, Revenge of the Sith, is a few more years later. Anakin is much more mature now and serious-minded. Padme is pregnant, and shit is really going down. Dooku captures Palpatine, though we know Palpatine is really Darth Sidious, the future Emperor and bad guy of the entire saga. This time, Anakin beats Dooku and kills him on Palpatine's order, which gains him a lot of influence and acclaim, and Palpatine places him on the Jedi Council, using more and more of the emergency powers he keeps gobbling up. He was a senator, now he's a chancellor, and by the end of the movie he'll be an emperor. Sidious slowly corrupts Anakin, who is tormented with visions of Padme dying, and Sidious tells him only the dark side of the Force can save her, though he's talking out of his ass. There's also a plot line with another bad guy, General Grievous, who is a Jedi killer and famous hand-to-hand combatant, and Palpatine taking control of the clones to wipe out the Jedi. The bad guys win in this one. Anakin becomes Darth Vader, he's beaten by Obi-Wan, but Obi-Wan doesn't finish him off, and Sidious rescues him after successfully beating Yoda. Yoda and Obi-Wan go into self-imposed exile, Padme gives birth to Luke and Leia, and then dies shortly after, and everything is set up for Episode 4 to happen 19 years later. So, how are they really? Some people enjoy them, some people don't, and I have to say, it kind of varies. Starting with The Phantom Menace, I never really got the big deal about it. For me, it just wasn't on the same level of quality as the original movies, but I never got the whole thing where it supposedly sucks. It's a bit heavy on the politics and things like trade embargoes and the Senate and all that, but all of those elements were present in the original stories. A lot of people also took issue with the character Jar Jar Binks because he's annoying, but honestly, annoying characters are not new to the series. Remember the Ewoks? Or even 3PO? Jar Jar's main issue is that he's overused. He was pretty much pushed into the background in the other two movies. The movie has some great moments, like the exciting pod race on Tatooine, and the lightsaber battles were way more advanced and exciting than previously. In the original Star Wars, Obi-Wan and Darth Vader were like two old guys poking at each other with sticks ever so carefully. The battles with Luke and Vader got better, but compare these to the fight between Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, and Darth Maul. It was really exciting. The acting ranged from bad to good. Really, the issue was the child actor, Jake Lloyd, as Anakin. He's a bit over the top, but that's the deal with a lot of child actors. Overall, The Phantom Menace is a worthy entry into the series. It has its flaws, but so did The Return of the Jedi, and that was still good. My main problem with it is that the entire thing moves really quickly. The runtime of the movie goes by really fast, and it never stops to have a quieter moment. Everything is fast and frantic, even the dialogue tends to feel rushed. That being said, it's a good one, and I'll give it a 7 out of a possible 10. Attack of the Clones, I liked it when I first saw it, but honestly, after seeing it a few more times, I like it less and less, until I feel it's basically the runt of the series. The problem was George Lucas had a lot of backstory, but most of it was either in Phantom Menace or Revenge of the Sith, so the middle one, Attack of the Clones, feels like a lot of filler. When Phantom Menace was too fast, Attack of the Clones, it's often too slow. With a lot of emphasis on the awkward and stilted romance subplot, but not enough on any real character development. The acting was also worse in this one, with the main offender being Hayden Christensen, who played Anakin. He was just really, really bad. I've also never liked Boba Fett, and I find that many fans' fascination with him to be weird, but the guy was barely a blip on the radar in the original trilogy, so all the backstory about him being a clone of Jango Fett, as well as all the stormtroopers also being clones, it just really feels like unnecessary pandering to Boba Fett fans. And most of them didn't like all the backstory anyway, since it reduced their badass bounty hunter guy into a slightly irritating kid. Really, there wasn't enough story here for a full movie, so just so much of it is awkward. But that's not to say there's nothing good about the movie. When it finally does pick up near the end, the action's quite good. And yeah, Yoda fighting, I think we all know that was awesome. Overall, though, even though I'm not a hater of the prequel trilogy, if there's one thing to dislike about it, it's Attack of the Clones. I give it a 4 out of 10. Finally, Revenge of the Sith. I was a bit worried about this one because how the last one turned out, but it seems Lucas saved the best for last with this trilogy. In a lot of ways, it reminds me of Empire Strikes Back, because it has a dark tone and ending. The bad guys win, after all, the difference being this time, you know what's going to happen. There's really no surprises. The acting is way better. I was shocked to see that Hayden Christensen could act. He later claimed he was asked to hold back in Attack of the Clones to make his performance in the third movie more striking. Kind of a bad move if you ask me, but there you go. The theme of this last one is how corruption works, and how you could easily become the bad guy if you believe a lie that someone tells you. It's not without its flaws. There's a few minor plot holes, such as the Jedi referring to Palpatine as the Emperor before he announces the formation of the Empire. But you have to take it in stride. This one is a good movie, and made the entire prequel trilogy worth it. It was kind of a mix of the dark undertones and seriousness of Episode 5 with the spectacle and action of Episodes 4 and 6. It's sort of the accumulation of the entire series. Some people, including George Lucas, claim that future generations should watch the movies in chronological order, but I say stick with the release order. Although Return of the Jedi ended the saga, at least the saga of the movies, Revenge of the Sith is like that final puzzle piece that clicks into place and rounds up the series in a thematic sense. Plus, yes, I actually do rank it slightly higher than Episode 6. I'm going to give it a 9 out of a possible 10. Well, there's one more to go. As of writing this, I haven't yet watched the Clone Wars movie, but I got a copy of it, and tomorrow you'll get my review.